Welcome to Snyder's Inc., where the fun never ends. Reactions, gaming, and more with Josh as your friend. Tune in, buckle up, it's a ride you don't wanna miss. Snyder's Inc., let's dive in, feel the ultimate bliss.
Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today, we got a wrestling reaction. And this is the 10 best final years in WWE history. We gonna get right into this, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, hit subscribe button, comment your link down below. Let's go.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. As Frank Sinatra so poetically put it, everything comes to an end one day, and that includes the in-ring careers of WWE wrestlers. Obviously, while some...
Well, I don't know. Unless you die, there's some who just can't stop, who will go until their last goddamn breath, I swear. Please, someone make sure Ric Flair don't come back again.
Performers quietly fade away, others finish their run in the big dub on a high. These 10 were all winning championships and competing in main events mere months before time was called on their days in a WWE ring. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best final years in WWE history. Join us.
But first, if you needed the best
We're gonna move on from this. Alright. Sorry, I'm skipping your NordVPN. If they want to sponsor, they want my channel, they gonna sponsor the man himself. You gonna sponsor my channel, you want your damn sponsor done. Unless your mental health. That's the only one I'm allowed to go, because mental health is the most important.
Number 10, Andre the Giant. Due to his deteriorating health, the once mighty Andre the Giant was used a lot less frequently during his final years in WWE. However, that does not mean that he didn't have his moments. His swan song began with a marquee match at WrestleMania 5 against Jake Roberts, which the latter won via the method of Snake. Over the summer of 1989, he was instrumental in getting the Ultimate Warrior over as a new main eventer. Andre was booked to lose several squash matches against Warrior at house shows, which made the face-painted musclehead look like a total monster. Towards the end of the year, Andre began teaming with Haku to form the Colossal Connection. They won the World Tag Team Championships in December and would hold them all the way until WrestleMania 6, when they lost to Demolition. This led to the big man's final farewell, when he turned face for the first time in years after beating the weasel juice out of his former manager Bobby Heenan. He then got on his little motorized cart and rode off into the sunset. Number 9.
Andre the Giant is a special one. Now we know, I wish we all could have seen in his prime. Because Andre, when looking back, is a special type of athlete. He was a hell of an athlete that just you didn't see because you were too busy. We saw him at his heyday, not his very prime. It's very that was what sucks, because if you were introduced to him by WWE, you would think that he was kind of shit. But you look back, he was something special.
Rick Steiner. Okay, this one might be a little bit cheeky, seeing as how the Steiner brothers' original WWE run only lasted for about 2 years in total, but there is no denying how much they achieved in that time. After falling out with WCW, Scott and Rick Steiner jumped ship to the World Wrestling Federation in 1992. They stayed there until mid-1994, leaving after Vince McMahon apparently failed to follow through on promises he had made them. Doesn't sound like Vince at all. If we take their final year to mean between the summer of 1993 and summer of 1994, then the Steiners got a lot done. They appeared at the first ever King of the Ring pay-per-view, were part of the main event match at Survivor Series, and also won 2 sets of World Tag Team titles. Did one of those reigns end because Scott hit somebody with a hockey stick? Well, yes, but shush. Because Scotty came back to WWE in 2002, only this time with more chainmail and fewer full sentences, only Rick qualifies for our list, even if he has proven himself to be a bit of a prick in recent times. Number 8, Christian. Although he...
Oh, Christian. You should have. This shouldn't be your last one. Your last one should have been this fucking 2021. I think when you returned, you should have gone. Well, 2021 or 2022? 2021. Yeah, 2021. So in 2021 when you returned, and you should have had a good run. You should have been doing good stuff in WWE, but they didn't use you for some reason. You went to AEW. You're fucking killing it there. You're incredible on that damn show. You win TNT titles. You have a deck place. You're going out to people's dead dads. You got it all figured out on the AEW. What the hell happened? Why does WWE not see you? What AEW clearly does.
He stuck around in the company for many years after and made that one appearance in the Royal Rumble. Christian's days as a full-time in-ring performer for WWE ended in March of 2014. He would suffer a concussion during a fatal four-way match on Raw that essentially ended his WWE career. Up to that point though, Captain Charisma had been on quite the run. The previous year, Christian had been embroiled in a feud with The Shield, which included handing the stable one of their first losses. He competed in Money in the Bank and even got a World Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam. Whilst that sounds great on paper, it did mean that he had to share the ring with Alberto Del Rio. After a brief hiatus,
The resident prick, Alberto Del Rio. The absolute everyone should hate Alberto Del Rio. That nobody should hire Conan Alberto Del Rio.
Mr. Cage took part in the Elimination Chamber match ahead of WrestleMania 30 before the aforementioned concussion put a stop to his momentum. Who was it that did that to him? Alberto Del Rio. What are the chances? Had it not been for that...
Fucking hell, he even gave me more of a reason. The man, I can't have it. There's no man. There's no reason to like Alberto Del Rio. There's none.
Bump to the noggin. Christian's final in-ring WWE year could have ended very differently. Oh well, he's done alright for himself since. Number 7, Ric Flair. He may have unretired about...
I'll give them this. I will absolutely give them this. This was amazing. They did well with this Ric Flair final one WWE, because no way they're gonna let him wrestle ass again. Because if they let him wrestle again, I'm gonna lose my mind, because they're fucking insane if they do.
About 400 times outside of WWE, but as it stands, Ric Flair's last match for the Fed was his exceptional battle with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24. No, that KFC-sponsored match doesn't count, shut up. Flair's last run began under very strange circumstances, as he was actually teaming with Carlito at WrestleMania 23. After a brief feud between the two, Nate unsuccessfully challenged MVP for the United States Championship before taking a few months off to return in November 2007. And this is where his story gets really interesting, as Vince McMahon announced that the next singles match Flair lost would be his last. Cue 4 months of the dirtiest player in the game hanging on to his livelihood by any means necessary. He beat Randy Orton thanks to a distraction from Chris Jericho, bested Triple H via DQ, and survived a run-in with Umaga by getting the Samoan Bulldozer counted out. This amazing stretch was capped off by that all-time great HBK match, which stands up as one of the most emotional in Mania history. Number 6, JBL. At WrestleMania...
I completely don't remember anything about JBL's final one. I'm actually curious about this. I don't remember anything about JBL. I'm watching Ruthless Aggression now. I'm watching the Ruthless Aggression era on the network. I haven't reached JBL's final part yet.
Mania 25, JBL lost his match and the Intercontinental Championship to Rey Mysterio in just 21 seconds. The Texan then promptly quit the company in front of God and everyone. But how will he make ends meet? Oh yeah, with his stock market millions. You might be wondering why a final year that ended this way has been included on this list. Well, before this Nightmare Night, Bradshaw was in fantastic form. At Mania 24, he had a great opening bout with Finlay, which included chucking a trash can directly into Hornswoggle's entire body. He fought for the WWE...
Oh yeah, I guess that's technically where it started, when he absolutely just hurt. Listen, I don't care. When I see JBL do that, every time I break, I pause the match and I start dying of laughter. Him throwing the trash can at Hornswoggle is one of the most beautiful sights I have ever seen. I wish I could get that on replay and just have that be a fucking thing I have on my channel. It's incredible. It's beautiful.
Championship at Backlash, beat John Cena at the Great American Bash, challenged CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, and then had a brief but memorable rivalry with Shawn Michaels in early 2009. This was the feud in which the showstopper lost all of his family's money in the 2008 financial crash. Perhaps the most topical WWE has ever been. Even on his goodbye tour, JBL was still challenging for top titles while working with some of the best talent around. Number 5, Adam Cole. After losing his NXT championship to Keith Lee, Adam Cole began his final 12 months in WWE by feuding with Pat McAfee. Although he wasn't a full-time wrestler or anything, and he chose to perform in what I can only assume were his gym shorts, McAfee had a very good first showing, and Cole proved that he could carry literally anyone to a decent match. All this brouhaha eventually turned Cole and the entire Undisputed Era babyface, which resulted in a War Games match between them and McAfee's faction, the Kings of NXT. 5 points if you can remember who was in that, no cheating. Cole finished up with
Pat McAfee, Rich Holland, but he got injured. Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, Pete Dunne. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right there.
NXT as a heel, turning on his faction and entering a rivalry with longtime friend Kyle O'Reilly. The two former buddies waged war against each other for months in 2021 before O'Reilly beat Cole in a 2 out of 3 falls match at NXT TakeOver 36. He was so embarrassed that he left WWE and never came back. Yep, that's why he left. Not because he was told to shave his head, change his name and become a manager. Number 4, Daniel Bryan. The man currently
A hell of a last year. This is how you position a guy before he leaves. One last year is on top the entire time. He is treated as a big star the entire time and a main eventer the entire time. This is how you should let people go, because if Daniel ever wanted to return, he'd have no reason not to believe he'd be positioned well. That is how you leave on good terms.
Currently known as Bryan Danielson, almost had his WWE career ended back in 2016. However, thanks to modern science and Bryan being a wonderful freak of nature, he was able to come back and round things off in 2021 instead. After a really fun match with Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 36, Bryan would go on to compete in that weird corporate Money in the Bank match where he and AJ Styles ended up having a fight in Vince McMahon's office. He then feuded with AJ over the vacant Intercontinental Championship before returning at the end of the year to set the scene for a showdown with Roman Reigns. Bryan lost to the Tribal Chief at both Elimination Chamber and Fastlane, but found his way into the main event of WrestleMania 37 where he and Edge both challenged for the Universal title. How did that go? Best you don't ask. D-Bry's final match in WWE to date was one of his best ever, another singles match with Reigns on SmackDown that cost the American Dragon his WWE career. Am I a fan of Bryan's final WWE year? Yes! Yes! Yeah! Okay, you get the picture. Number 3, Shawn Michaels.
This one's weird. Because it starts with the Mania thing, and then you have the DX stuff, and then I think you have a few Legacy, and then it's once the Slammy Awards starting this obsession with Taker that it gets really good. But like the summer part of it is kind of
BK's final proper in-ring year in WWE, I would rather eat a bowl of my own toenails than acknowledge what happened in Saudi Arabia, was bookended by 2 of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. The first was at Mania 25, aka that match with The Undertaker that filthy marks like us can't stop bloody going on about.
Yep.
Michaels actually disappeared from WWE after that match, which led to a bunch of sketches where he was working in a cafeteria. Thanks to Triple H,
and he super kicked a little girl. Me and my friend were just talking about this. I want to know who that little girl was he super kicked. I want to know. Someone find me the answer, please.
Showstopper returned to the ring to face Legacy at SummerSlam. But not before he super kicked a little girl. Reformed my arse. This led to Shawn and Hunter winning the tag titles together in December 2009. The next month, Michaels would publicly make amends with Bret Hart for the first time since the Montreal Screwjob. Then came the road to WrestleMania and Michaels' obsession with The Undertaker. He gave an all-time performance at the Royal Rumble, then cost the dead man his title at Elimination Chamber before losing a career versus streak match at Mania 26. Sure, he may have assaulted a child, but even that doesn't stop HBK's final WWE year from being epic. Number 2, CM Punk. It turns out the great way to have an amazing final year in WWE is to leave on your own terms without telling anyone. Though he wasn't the tippity
Yeah, Punk's last year he was treated as he was one of the top stars. Even though he hates to actually give them any credit, they used him well. Except putting him with Ryback. That's the only thing they did that was wrong. Everything else they did well with him.
Top guy he wanted to be, CM Punk was still a major player in the company before his infamous walkout in January of 2014. He had been WWE Champion the previous year before losing it to The Rock at Royal Rumble 2013. He would go on to feud with The Undertaker, culminating at WrestleMania 29 in what was probably the last great match Taker had at the Show of Shows.
Yeah.
Punk would feud with his ex-manager Paul Heyman over the summer, leading to the excellent Beast vs. Best match against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Sure, this also led to matches against Curtis Axel and Ryback, but swings and roundabouts, eh?
Curtis Axel's a good opponent. I would say Punk and Axel could actually have a good match. Ryback's just Ryback.
Straight Edge Superstar would work with the Wyatt family and later the Shield before spending almost 50 minutes in the 2014 Rumble. After that, well, you know what happened. Whilst they...
Oh, here's another one. Here's another little thing for you, right? Because Punk's like, oh, you gotta make Roman look good. My man beat the Shield 3-on-1 at TLC. My man beat the Shield by himself.
HBK's farewell tour might have had higher highs. Punk was around way more consistently and had just as many high-profile matches before he said goodbye to Vince McMahon and company. Number 1, Eddie Guerrero. Although it might be bittersweet to
Yeah, but I'll say this is one that's a different version of his final year.
think about it now, it's important to remember just how bloody good Eddie Guerrero was at the time of his tragic death in November 2005. Around 1 year earlier, he was fighting in a fatal 4-way match for JBL's WWE title. Then he began his storyline with Rey Mysterio, which started when the duo won the tag titles at No Way Out. After Mysterio beat Guerrero at WrestleMania 21, Latino Heat became more and more frustrated over his inability to get a win over his masked pal. He soon turned heel, revealed that Rey's son Dominic was actually his own, and had one of the wildest ladder matches in WWE history at SummerSlam.
Where the fuck was Vicky? That's all I remember this feud for. At match 4. Anything else, there's insane spots. All I'll ever remember was where the fuck was Vicky. I wish that was a t-shirt.
2005. Eddie's final pay-per-view match was at No Mercy, where he challenged Batista for the World Heavyweight title. Rumour has it that he was supposed to beat the Animal for the gold down the road, but that obviously never happened. Guerrero was very much in his prime when he passed away, which makes the whole dire situation even worse. He will always be remembered as one of the greats though, and was putting out some amazing work right until his Latino heat burned out. And now...
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know who you think had the best final year in WWE history in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all for the next one.